Good morning. Welcome to Cottonwood Campground along the Little Missouri River just outside Medora, North Dakota, inside the southern unit of Theodore Roosevelt National Park. Now, this campground is a mix of reservable and first come, first serve. I think checkout time is noon, so that's kind of when the check-in begins. And the race begins for the open sites. You can reserve the other sites on recreation.gov if you want to guarantee your sites. And that's one of the reasons I'm going to try to do a full walking tour here so you can look through those sites and know what you're getting. Now, currently, I am, like I said, along the river, and there's this grassland between the campground and the river. So sites that look like they're on the river, you got all of this before you get to the sites. You also have a campground without electric and a lot of really big sites, which means generators are running all the time. I stayed at Juniper Campground in the northern unit. Didn't have any generators running. It's all first come, first serve. And it was much more enjoyable. The generators are running till well after dark last night here, and I can already hear them humming away this morning. But we'll go through it and show you the sites, and some of them are huge. All right, as you enter the campground, there is a campground host that will kind of guide you and help you as you're coming in trying to grab one of those first come, first serve. You pay here $20 a night, $10 with your senior access. And it does use an Iron Ranger, so you can bring cash and pay. Sites 1, 2, and 3 are on this side as you come in. And then we got like 43 and 44 over here. And like I said, half of them are reservable and half of them are not. So there's site 1, site 2, they're parked out here. Although I would have parked there. Maybe that's 3. There's 2. I would have fit there beautifully. 43 over here. And I'll get to this loop second. There's a loop over there and a loop over on this side. Yeah, so that's 3. That's 4. There are trails running down the middle. So 3's picnic table and fire ring down there. There are trails running down through the middle of the campground through a series of flush toilet facilities. All right, so 6 through 39 first. All right, 5 over here with this big fifth wheel, and they got a pit toilets over there. 6, nice little back in there with that. 7 is this big pull through, and these are on the riverside, and you saw how deep it was. 8's a pull through over here, 9 over on that side. So 9 is a really long pull through site. 10, a little shorter. You can hear the hum of the generator from behind me. 11 is just this little pad here. So this is almost ideal for me. I would have to kind of reverse in, but a lot of that happening here. 12 is this pull through with this back in section. That's kind of nice. Mixed use there. 13, park up here, pick table fire ring and room for a tent down below. 14 is this little section over here, which is the out of this as well, with paths going off. You're not backed up to a neighbor over here. There's big open space, plenty of room for the buffalo to roam. 15 over here, just a little parking pad out here. I would not recommend pulling down there. When it's gray and it gets wet, it is slickery. Slickery, trust me. 16 over here, small little pull through. 17, a really big pull through site. It's a lot of curve to it, but it's pretty big. 18, another fair-sized pull-through. Again, trails running off to the restroom, which is right back there. This gives you a really good sense of how big 17's pull-through is there. 19, you don't want if you have slide outs. The trees are too tight. They have a slide out that they're barely getting out there. 20 is tucked back in the woods here, adjacent to 21's pull through, and then you have open prairie off to the river and then the hills. Alright, 22 over here, fair size pull through. They're going to share that, which makes sense. 23 over here, pull through on the river side, gives you open prairie. It's one of the nice open ones. They still have room for even a third to fit in here. 24. Pretty large pull through. This is the group site over here at 25. I'm gonna kind of skip over that. 26, another pull through with trees on either side, so think about that. 27 is a pretty big pull through. That's a path out to the restrooms. 28, another fair size site. 30 might be that other unit, but I'm not sure. 29, another very large pull through. Yeah, so this one and the next one, they are not sharing, but they are sharing space pretty heavily here. That one is like nose to nose there, but they are different sites. 31, another big pull through, and they just used the tent. 32 over here, nice little back end site. That's a nice small site. I was tucked into 33 last night. It was a site that had been reserved that somebody gave up early, so I was able to grab this. They were nice enough to point me to that one. 34, another pull through. And when I say there are some big pull-throughs, look at the size of this one. Anything would fit in this straight run here. And then it curves out. You can fit some monsters in here. 36. Over here is a back-end site with your picnic table and fire ring down below. 37, for some reason, right now it is closed. But it's another pull-through. They may be doing some tree trimming, who knows what. 38, another fair size pull through. And it's pretty long. Enter exits way over there. So again, you can fit something pretty large in there, and there's room for your slides. 39 is a pull off, not a pull through. And picnic table and fire ring down below. Alright, I misread the sign. 6 through 39, any size. 45 through 76, trailers less than 25 feet. That makes more sense, and this is much more tent friendly on this side. 45 squeezed in there. 46 over here. These are all fairly short. These are what I would be most happy with in 47. 48 with the little teardrop. And this side is the river side again. 49 over here. Great views off into the prairie towards the river. Nice spot for a tent on the ridge there. Let me take a quick look here. Okay, things are different in this section. We are right by the river here. Very different than the other section. River definitely jumps in here. Right across from that is 50, backing up to bathroom. 51 has this Class C with slide outs. Fits just right in there. That's perfect size for that. Still a little snug, had to go in backwards. 52 over here. See, cars fill it nicely. All right, getting down to the end of the loop, I've got 53 here, 54. You can see how short that is. And that one's picnic table and fire ring are quite a ways back. And then there's a series of walk-ins here. You can see 55 there's 56, 57. Those are nicely along the river. 60, 59 in this area, 61. 62, 63, 64 as we come around. So some are a little further out, some are close by. 64, 65, 66 are right off the parking area, but only a couple are still on the river. The rest are on this prairie where you might have buffalo as neighbors. All right, heading back now. 67. You can do a little bit with that one with some smaller trailers. 68. Someone will be back. They left their chairs and their leveling blocks. Get their perfect spot. It's actually a nice view out the back. 69. That's a big one. For this section, that is a huge site. So you can squeeze something bigger in here as a pull through or back in. 70 over here, definitely a short site. Nothing too big in here. And just backed into the prairie. 71. Now these are wide enough so you can park your trailer and your vehicle next to it. Picnic table and fire ring set down to the side. 72 over here. You basically got up to the tree. There's your barrier and tenting out on the prairie. 73, kind of a slope up, levels off when you get back in there. This one's a little longer than some of the others, reservable. Number to leave off at here, another nice little tent site or small unit, and that is 74. How did I get there? 75 over here, slope up on that one, kind of wide, but you could just park down here, but then you'd be tippy the other way. And 76 is our last one over here on the prairie side. Now, if that felt rushed, I'm sorry. I've only got 6 minutes left on the memory card. So that's my tour of Cottonwood Campground at Theodore Roosevelt National Park, Southern Unit in North Dakota. I am on the western edge of North Dakota. It is not far to Montana, Wyoming from here, wherever the next state is. I hope this was useful for you. If you find it useful, check out my other videos on the other national park campgrounds that I've been able to squeeze in. I did the northern unit. I'll be trying to catch a couple others, as well as some of the other public land ones like national forest or national grassland ones. Like I did the CCC one by the north unit. I also did Elkhorn Campground by the Elkhorn Ranch portion of this state park, a national park, but that is in the grasslands as well. Those are only $10 a night. So check those out if you want, if you can. Thanks for coming along. I'll see you in the next one, and get out. Enjoy our public lands. And be careful where you set your tent. You want to be up high. This stuff turns to mud. You can see my footprints coming through.